So again, VoiceToSkull can not only be used to send very audible and very loud audio to someone's head from hundreds of yards away, through walls, through obstacles, from a drone or from a handheld device or a fixed point device. But it can also manipulate the words coming out of people's mouths. That's very important because people that are going through gangstalking, because it can send subliminal thought into someone. Again, this is not science fiction. This is something that's been around for over 50 years. And magicians and mentalists use this in magic tricks when they use someone to think of numbers using a trick. They're broadcasting those numbers to the person's head via VoiceToSkull, and the volumes turn down to a subliminal level. And again, it's indistinguishable from thought. It's highly manipulative. I've been around people that are not in character, in their normal character, and they say things like my dad, when he says things that are totally logical and totally rational, and he doesn't think of them, and I remind him of that, and it doesn't process because he's being gang stalked, or at least he was, probably still is, unbeknownst to him. But that sounds super paranoid, doesn't it? It's like, oh, yeah, it's like, oh my God, they can do this. But anyway, and that reminded me again of the Hampton Inn thing when you mentioned that story to me, Dad, when I was literally walking back from Chris's house, and literally looking at the Hampton Inn sign when you mentioned Hampton Inn, like literally at the same time. So and again, I can manipulate the words coming out of people's mouths. So that's very important too, because when people think other people are in on it, not only are they broadcasting subliminal thought into this person's heads and this person's head, they are also, and now they're making a reference to the skulls thing that I said earlier. They intentionally did that. They like to do stupid things like that and then reference it again, and sometimes days later, or even longer. But they they can also use that on other people around the targeted individual or the victim, to make them think that they're in on it. So they can make your doctor say things like overlay and bees and infrared. At a time 2.5 years ago, or over 2.5 years ago, when those were the first set of buzzwords, when there were so few buzzwords, and that was around the time they were going, buzz, buzz, it's a sting operation, you're going to get stung, it's the Vice Squad, it's the Ice Squad, buzz, buzz, the sting operation, you're going to get stung. And overlay was a thing because they made it seem like, and technically they could have this, but I was like, I can't believe or disbelieve that. I can't do anything about it. So they had an overlay on my phone, and they were using that to make my videos appear like they were better examples of evidence than when they were when I looked at them later or when they shared them with someone else. And I found out that was at least true from projections onto the screen or into my eyes or in the space in between, and and have actually videos of me, like video like on my phone, and you can literally see, like, in the black edges on my phones, you can literally see projections onto that phone and onto the wall behind it. Even when I'm doing, like, watching that, where I have recordings of video when it's on the TV, you can see it in the black bars to the side when I'm casting it via Chromecast a video to the TV and recording that video. You can literally see in the dark sides, which aren't part of the video. You can literally see projections and noise. And again, Dad, it's not camera noise. You can literally see that. So it's like, that just shows you, like, yeah, they actually project in between and onto the surface of of what you're recording and of the thing that you're using to make the recording. But they can use VoiceToSkull to make other people, unsuspecting and unknowingly, start using buzzwords or keywords or say things in a way, and then use the subliminal messaging to the person to make them think, oh, this person's in on it, or like, this person wouldn't normally say these things. The doctor doesn't normally say overlay or buzz or bees or infrared in a normal patient exam. That's just not normal. But they can do that. I would literally witness them do that with Tim and with other people. I would witness them doing it with my dad, literally. Like, and I know that they're doing it, and with Robin, like just now, the past few days, they literally told me what they're going to have her say, and then she says it, and then I don't say that she's going to say it, because then they won't say it, and then I'll just look like a crazy person. But they have had Robin pick fights with me, and they're also using it on her. She said that she was praying for me, and I was walking inside to get a cigarette or something or a drink to my trailer, and she was sitting outside, and she thought I laughed at her, and I was like, I didn't laugh at you, and she went on this huge tirade, and I was like, Robin, over and over, I was like, Robin, you're not listening to me. I did not laugh at you when you said prayer. She's like, you think I'm stupid because I pray? You think I'm stupid because I'm religious? Blah blah blah. And I was like, Robin, I didn't laugh at you. I didn't say anything. I didn't laugh at you. I didn't make a face. I didn't respond to that in any sort of negative way whatsoever. But they made her think that I did. They made her think that I laughed. They broadcast a laugh into her head, and she doesn't believe it. But and she has said some very unsettling remarks, about, so I'm not going to mention them here, but it's like the Robin I know wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that so vehemently or something like that, and she doesn't believe that she's a target. And I was like, yeah, they're using it on you. They're going to use it on you. They're going to use it on you to, like, they're making you pick fights with me. She's like, no, they're not. And I'm like, yes, they are. We wouldn't be having this fight if it weren't for them. Because I could literally keep saying, like, stop picking a fight with me. I don't want to talk about this. Like stop picking fights with me. And she's like, I'm not picking fights with you. And she comes up and she says things that just aren't true, and she believes them, or she says things, and then later on they argue through her in such illogical ways and make her interrupt, and then not listen to me. And when I'm like, Robin, I didn't laugh at you. She's like, you think I'm stupid? Well, Robin, I didn't laugh at you. I didn't laugh at you. I didn't do anything. I did not. It's like I didn't have a response to that. I heard you. I did not, respond to that. So you didn't, and like it literally took like some time to like, and she was like, okay, well then if you didn't, okay. But like again, the fight happened still, and again, like in her head, she still didn't like. I don't think she believed that I didn't laugh at her. But I'm going to demonstrate now Voice of Skull, and they're probably speaking through me now with these words. But and again, I can't do accents very well. I can do like a half-assed New York accent, maybe. I can do like a half-assed Boston accent on a few things, like the stereotypical things like pack the car and things like that. But I'm not good with accents. I can do a Southern accent or a Texan accent pretty well, not with and a vague Southern or Texas accent, because I'm from the South. But I generally don't have much of an accent myself, and I generally can't do impressions or whatever. So when you hear my voice change, and when you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, probably the ones that are coming out of my mouth now, you're going to hear a change in speech pattern, and you're going to hear a change in voice, in the tone, the volume, and the pitch, and it's going to go higher and lower. It's going to probably have an accent to it. And it's literally like I'm not going away. It's not like my brain's going away. I don't have dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder. But I'm not. I don't. They're not taking over my body. Although if you're an unsuspecting person, it's like, it can literally like manipulate you to the point where this is literally like mind and body control. And I've never have been a conspiracy theorist. I never would be the type of person that would ever say something like that. But it's the closest thing, and that's literally like the correct term for it. But it's technically more of a manipulation, but to the point of where it is a control. Like you can literally, if you're aware of it, you can choose not to say that. You can keep your mouth closed. It's hard to do that sometimes, but you literally can't like not talk for the rest of your life. You are totally, you don't know necessarily when they're doing it to you, especially if they act more like you. But when you're aware of it, it's frustrating because it's like, even when it's like, I don't need you to speak for me, but we're gonna do like a little trick here, where I'm gonna let them speak through me, And again, it's not like a ESP thing. It's literally using voice-to-skull technology, which has been around for over 50 years. And it's something that the magicians and mentalists have kept quiet because they don't want to ruin their mind reading trick. And but again, this can also manipulate the words that come out of someone's mouth. Um, the last thing I'll say before this: if you ever listen to someone speaking on either in person or on TV, like someone at the podium or something, and they have to clear their throat, or maybe even just one on one, and they have to clear their throat, and then you feel like you have to clear your throat, it's the same concept. The same signals are going through your brain. The one through this through here, through here, and then the two through here, and so that literally is like you making the same thing with your throat because you're listening to it. Again, the same signals go through your brain. If you think that way, if you think a thought, or if you hear someone thinking, it works with sounds as well. It's the same phenomenon where most people can sing on pitch or on key if they can hear someone singing on key. So that's why singers oftentimes will have one or two earpieces in, so they can hear themselves sing, so that they can be on pitch. They can and some people can't do that, but it's certainly easier when you hear someone else singing in pitch, or when you hear yourself, and you can, if you're trained, if you're skilled in doing that, you know how to do that. It's the same phenomenon. It's just like people aren't aware of it. So that whole throat clearing thing, and being able to sing on key or in pitch, in the right pitch, or the right, whatever the correct term is, it's the same phenomenon. But using voice-to-skull, it can sort of skip the whole delay process that would happen if you're on the phone with someone, or if you're sitting next to someone and then like you're saying the same thing to someone else. Normally you'd have to pause and listen to them and then say what they're saying, or like, okay, this is what they said, blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, blah 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 blah. It's literally like real time. It skips this whole, I guess, whatever the process however your school normally processes it, it skips something to where you can literally say it just because it's the same signals. It's as if you're thinking those things and about to say those same things yourself. So I know this is a huge setup, but I'm going to go ahead and do the thing that I've done other videos for, and I've already done the explanation as well, probably in a better way. But so again, they're not taking over my body. I'm not being possessed. I'm just going into a passive like mode, and I can hear the words that they're saying to me right now. You don't have to hear it, but sometimes they do that. They also transmit it in an audible volume level, so I can, and sometimes with a delay or in advance. So they like to play around with that. So it's like sometimes I hear it right before I say it. Sometimes but like they can do it where you don't hear it at all, and it just comes out your mouth. That's how they do it with most people. I'm one of the few people that they've like announced themselves to and actually done this to, because again, they're like, well, we're not going to get caught anyway, so let's see how much we can get away with and how blatant we can be about this, and like make Kips see they're already doing that to me. They're already doing that to me, and they're making me trip up my words. So Kip, we're gonna take over this because you're taking way too long to do the setup. So you see how my speech pattern has changed, and you see how like I'm talking a little bit different than Kip. I'm speeding up my voice, speeding up his voice actually, because my voice is actually going really fast right now. I'm one of the Gangstalkers, like Gangstalking Kip. Not this person, but the person speaking through Kip. Again, Kip is actually here, and he's letting us speak through him right now, and he's so kind to let us do that. But again, he was actually correct on every single thing that he said about VoiceToSkull. And Kip's dad is going to watch this, and Kip's dad is going to think that he's crazy, and he's talking about himself in third person, or he's making this up, or he's lying about it. And that's what we get off. We get off on doing these things, and we get off on dehumanizing and demoralizing Kip, and we get off making him think that like there's going to be a rescue, and then that rescue never comes, because like we literally have also gangstalked Kip's dad and Robin at the point where they literally don't believe him, and at points that were very important where they were going to believe him and going to do something, we stepped in and we made them change their mind. We made Carrie not do the investigation. We made Robin like yell at him, and we were making her pick fights with him as well. And he's getting better at getting out of those fights. But but Robin doesn't believe that we're doing that. So if you notice, like Kip sounds a little bit different like now, but not too different, because like I don't sound that different from Kip as far as like my normal tone and volume. I don't have much of an accent either, but we're gonna hand it over to someone else, or we're gonna use a recording, and we're not gonna tell you which is which. But we can also literally cause we can cause you to stutter. We can cause you to stop your sentence as well. So Kip's not choosing to 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 stutter or anything like that. We are literally causing him to stutter right now. Again, Kip is not choosing to do that. He's not imagining this, and he's not making that up. He's literally in sort of like a passive mode, and if we literally stopped and turned it off, like he could just not talk or talk on his own, but we literally don't let him do that anymore because he's trapped 24/7 on this voice to skull connection or multiple voice to skull connections, and we're literally have fun tormenting him. So you see how his voice is sped up, and we also speed up his voice like that because then it sounds like he's crazy, or he's on something, or he's manic, or he's like a crazy person. Because like now he sounds more like a crazy person, right? He sounds like more like a crazy person. He doesn't sound as sane and sober as he did before. He's not on anything. He's not sleep deprived. He's not getting good sleep. But and that's a whole nother video. Uh, but uh, and we do these things like that. And we really like to do things like that. So Carrie, you think like Kip is just making this up, like he's not on anything right now, he's not sleep deprived, and you really think in these videos where in the playlist where he goes to the Gangstalkers and or I talk, you really think he's going into a Kermit voice and he's just making that up and he's sending it to you voluntarily? He's sending that to you, and he's like, I know this makes me look crazy, but I'm explaining this to you of what it is, and I've explained to you what it is. I'm explaining to you again what it is. You literally think that like I would send you a video that makes me look crazy, but explaining it to you in a scientific way. You literally think that I sound like I'm on the side, right? But I'm not. And we're also zapping his face in ways that make him do facial expressions as well. Like he's not choosing to do this. He could choose not to do it. So he can we're trying to do it now, but anyway. But we weren't really trying that hard. He wasn't really fighting against that one, but we made it look like he was fighting against it. But Carrie, you really think in those videos he goes into a Kermit voice, or when he goes like the sweetie thing, or we don't have that person here, or it wasn't a person? No, we don't have that person here. That was there at that time. But we could pull up the recording, but I really hate that one, and I really do hate that one, and Kip doesn't believe or disbelieve that. But again, I really hate that one. That one really annoys me. But there's one where he's like, sweetie, and I'm not doing it right. But and he goes into a Kermit voice too, Carrie. And there's another one where he's in a hotel room, and he's like, we're like, hey, Kip, it's so and so, and he's talking to himself in the mirror, and it's us talking through him, and it's not the first time we've done it. So it's again, it's it's just par for the course, or whatever the correct term is. It's like another day, another dollar. That's not the right one. But and we're literally making them move like that. We can use the direct energy weapons to manipulate you, so we have body control as well. But it's not complete control. But again, you wouldn't know it if we were doing it to you. You really wouldn't. Kip knows we're doing it to him, and we're also hurting his back right now. And we've done this in other videos where we're like, you're really hurting his back right now. Can you really not do that? But literally, I could stop them, and I'm not going to because I'm a horrible person. Not this person, but the person speaking through Kip. We also like to do rush speech because, and then when we're talking to a therapist, and then we remind them that rush speech is a symptom of schizophrenia. And just because it's a symptom does not mean that someone with rush speech has schizophrenia. So that's another misdiagnosis that we like to take advantage of, that really should not ever be used as a diagnosis. That's rush speech. You should never even think of schizophrenia. It's a possible result of schizophrenia, and when someone's trapped on voice to skull, to make people think that they're schizophrenic. But we like to do that too. And I hear that twice from therapists. They were like, rush speech is a sign of schizophrenia. And it's a possible symptom of some people with schizophrenia, but there are so many people that have rush speech, and they're in positions where rush speech would be a natural thing. If I hadn't talked to anyone in a long time and was getting a lot of information out, when you're passionate about something or stressed about something, you're probably gonna have rush speech, and you might actually talk really fast about it. Unless you're okay, I gotta talk slow. I gotta take it slow. I gotta act normal. But sometimes you get in front of someone and you haven't been able to talk to someone for months, and you're like, blah, 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 And he wasn't even talking this fast. He wasn't even talking this fast like we're talking right now. He was actually not talking. He was actually pretty normal. It was slightly rush speech, but we used voice to skull in those two people's heads on different occasions to make them think rush speech is a sign of schizophrenia. and one was his lawyer actually, and one was a counselor at the jail. And she wasn't a psychologist or a psychiatrist; she was a counselor. And it's like, no, 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 that's actually not true. It's a possible symptom, but you can never use that to diagnose someone with schizophrenia. You cannot ever even use that as a part of the diagnosis process. But that's a huge failure in the medical and psychiatric community that we'd like to take advantage of. It's like you can't. It's more of a, like a side effect or a adverse effect than a symptom that you can use to diagnose. It's like the real diagnosis is: do you hear people talking to you? Do you hear voices? Do you hear thoughts that like aren't you don't believe are yours, or that you believe are or think they're yours, but they're not thoughts that you necessarily want to hear, but and they're like secondary thoughts or whatever, or they're like another person, or they're like another entity, but they're then you're schizophrenic. Aside from that, you're not. There's no such thing as a schizophrenic person that doesn't hear voices or thoughts. There's not. And like that's the only diagnosis that there should be. There might be other things you talk to them, because there might be other problems like neurosyphilis, which in Austin and other cities that have this problem, there should be an increase in that. Oh, you want us to change voices? Okay, now we're gonna do accents, but then we're not, and Kip is gonna have to edit this, but he's not. So let's do something. Let's do something now, because this is actually gonna be a pretty boring video. He's probably gonna delete it. Okay, and then we don't. So like we do this to him all the time. We told him we were gonna do this, and then he was like, he didn't even respond to it, and we were like, we're gonna fuck up. So why don't we do it right? Oh, we are gonna do it right. You want to see if Kip does it, but Kip's not gonna do it. He's just letting us talk through him. He can hear you trying to do that, so like we're just gonna do it, and then he's not gonna do it because like I'm in the lead position or whatever. No. So he's going to delete this, and this is really fun. It's a big waste of time, right? So Kip is hearing something faintly in his ear, that he's hearing someone else talk, or another audio track or whatever of someone that's doing the bullshit New York accent, and he's saying, "That's not bullshit, blah blah blah." And it's like we do this to Robin. He's like, hey, and he was like, okay, so he was in, so like when he was in, when he was like staying at this other house for a couple weeks before he moved to the hotel in Austin, before he moved back down to the valley. There was a guy named Paul there that used to live with Kip for like a couple of months, and he was like, hey Paul, we got Gangstalkers. He's like, he's like, it's like Billy's map on Family Circus, Paul. You'll get from point A to point B very quickly, or not in a straight line, like, or at all. He's like, we got Gangstalkers, Paul. It's like real bad. It's real bad, Paul. We got Gangstalkers. He's like, Carrie, do you think that, like, and I'm speaking to Carrie LaCrone now, not that you're gonna watch this video, certainly not for like 50 minutes or whatever. Do you really think Kip is crazy? You really think he's like sending these videos to you, which he's probably not going to send this video to you because he's kind of done with you? You really think that he's sending this video to you? You really think he's going to send this to you thinking that like, oh, I know this makes you look crazy, but like, yeah, Gary, you think he looks crazy. Like, again, Kip's not doing this accent. We're choosing to do this accent for him. Like, Kip can't even do a New York or a Boston accent or New England accent of any kind, or a Maryland accent. He didn't even pick up the accent when he was there. And again, like, you may know, you may not know, but again, like, again, you think that Kip is like choosing to do this? You think Kip is like going to you think he has dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder? And if you know that we tripped him up on that, or I tripped up on that intentionally, or someone tripped me up on it through him. But again, if you look at previous videos, every time he tries to say multiple personality disorder, almost every single time you'll notice that they fuck up that word, or we fuck up the word. Take a look at it. And every single video under the playlist of Gangstalkers and or I talk, he'll try to say the word multiple personality disorder, and we will fuck it up almost every single time. And he'll actually make a mention of that. Sometimes he'll laugh, and he'll be like, and it's actually us talking through him, and he'll be like, oh, they fuck up every time I try to say, oh, no, we don't fuck up that. We fuck up dissociative identity disorder. And then one time we fucked up multiple personality disorder, and we didn't fuck up dissociative identity disorder. So watch the videos. He doesn't mention that phrase in those terms in every single video, Carrie, but that's the playlist that you'll look at. And it's when we're talking through him, or when he's trying to explain it to people. And he's like, I don't have dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple multiple personality disorder, and we'll do something like that, and we'll trip him up on that. And he's like, they always trip me up on that, but we'll trip him up on dissociative identity disorder. Do you see what I'm saying, Carrie? Like Kip can't do these accents. Like he I mean, I guess he could try. I mean, he could try the New York accent, but like he's never lived there. Like he doesn't, and he doesn't do accents. He doesn't do impersonations. So like, so you think that like he's just changing this and he's gonna send it to you, or he's gonna post this, knowing that it's gonna make him look crazy, and you, but like he's not crazy. So he's aware of it. It's like those things like if you're not crazy, if like but like he knows he's not crazy. You don't, or if you do, it's like you're not doing the right thing anyway. You're not doing the right thing anyway, even if you do think he's crazy, because you shouldn't treat people like that with disabilities. So if you don't believe him and you think he has dissociative identity disorder, and you think he's schizophrenic, and you think he has fibromyalgia, and you think he has this problem, again, each single one of those things is a disability by themselves. And yet, you're like, you should work. There's a plan for you to work. And it's like, there was no plan for you to work. Kip was like, I'm going to try to work at the day labor place, but it wasn't like a plan. You act like he like committed to this plan with you, and then you get all petty with him, and you're like talking about $80 jeans. It's like, Carrie, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's us making you petty. We've made you a horrible petty person, Carrie. We really have. You haven't apologized for any single thing that you've done to Kip, and you've done so many things to him. You still think that he threatened Tom's daughters, or you think that the text may have been no, it wasn't. We were gangstalking Tom too, and he saw a text where he was talking about the two neighbor ladies, saying how one of them said that he accosted her, when all he did was they passed by his balcony that he was standing or sitting on, and he thought that they were already sketchy. They actually, one of them was working with us, so a friend of them was kind of working with us, and that's a whole other story. But like, he said like nice boobs because they were in bikinis, and he was like, hey, like nice boobs to one of them, and he probably shouldn't have said that, but he thought that she knew that he was gay, which she did, and she was like showing them off, and he was just like, hey, and he wasn't saying that, and it's just like, hey, and but he was like, hey, like nice, very nice, and it was, yeah, at the most it would be just slightly rude, um, and but like she knew he was gay, and then like later he saw her and he was like, what's wrong? Like, why are you giving me attitude? Like you never smile, you always act like you give me the cold shoulder when you walk by the corner of this building. And she's like, you accosted me. And so he sent Tom a text message. She's like, these two sketchy bitches from 2 doors down, from like 2 or 3 doors down or whatever, 4 doors down, they said that I accosted them. And he's like, he's like, they said, and I was like, all I said was like that, and like that's all the text was. And then Tom never even, like, you think Tom would call Kip and be like, hey Kip, like, why are you threatening my daughters or whatever, even if he thought that, but some reason he mentioned that to you without even clearing that up with Kip. And then like you mentioned that to Kip and you were like, you threatened Tom's daughters, and he's like, no I didn't. And so that was over 2 years ago, Carrie. That was like 2.5 years ago, and you're still holding it against him. And like even in a conversation when Tom didn't clear it up and promised to clear it up along with all the other misinformation that he gave you, like that he was underweight, he did not fit into Tom's stepson's shorts. He actually tried to fit into them, not realizing that he still had them because again, Betsy was doing laundry, and like those were like, here's some gym shorts, and like yeah, they went on, but they didn't fit very well. They were very snug. And I remember we were watching him when he tried them on after he got back out of jail and at the Grove. He's like, "What are these gym shorts?" And he's like, "Oh, these must be those shorts that my dad thought I fit into." He's like, "You fit into like Tom's, stepson's like gym shorts." And Kip's like, "What are you talking about? No, what are you talking about? Like you're underweight." You thought he was emaciated meth head, Carrie, and he was actually 20 or 30 pounds overweight when he went to jail. He actually lost 20 to 25 pounds while he was in jail during that period where he wasn't talking to you and he wasn't getting commissary. And he was just eating three basic meals a day, which is enough to sustain you, but it's not. But you're gonna lose weight if you're on it. And Kip lost weight, and he actually lost 20 to 25 pounds, which is very disheartening when like you thought he was an emaciated meth head and underweight. Because of the information that Tom gave you. And then he tries to clear that up in a very polite conversation, in a 3-way conversation where Tom gave him a glowing recommendation, but didn't actually correct the record, Gary. And then all Kip said was like, and just for the record, since we're in a 3-way conversation, just for the record, I'm just going to tell you, just for the record, I never threatened Tom's daughters, and the text could never have been even interpreted that way, because that is the truth. And the only reason why he interpreted it that way was he was drunk, and he was drunk. And he was drunk. He was drunk when he read the text, and we put that thought in his head because he saw two girls, but he didn't read Neighbors, and he saw accosted, and we made him think that there was a threat. If you looked at the text, Carrie, which you could have easily gotten from Tom, you could have easily said, "Hey, Tom, send me the screenshot of it," and Tom should send the screenshot of that to you just to clear it up, even though it's over 2 years ago. You could see that it could not have been interpreted that way without Gangstalking or by a sober, sane person. It could not have been interpreted that way. And like you, and like Kip was like, just to be clear, which wasn't rude, which wasn't impolite. He was like, just to be clear, and he's clearing his own record. So like Kip actually has to clear the record with you and Tom, which is actually unbelievably like outrageous on your part and on Tom's part. The fact that he still didn't correct it in the right way. And he was like, just to be clear, Tom, like when we're kind of going in and out of accents, like I keep losing my accent. No, let's stay in this accent because this is my voice. Yes, it is my voice. This is how I talk. But anyway, yes, I do talk this way. I'm talking to someone else right now. They're pretending like they're kind of annoying and like, oh my God, it is annoying. But like I lost my accent, so I guess that isn't my accent. And like Kip doesn't believe or disbelieve that, so he doesn't really give a shit. So like but again, I want to talk like this. So let me talk like this because I've been in the Northeast, like this is how I talk. So anyway, Carrie, you think Kip is changing? But again, in the incident, Carrie, like all Kip said was like, just for the record, since Tom didn't correct it, right away, he said like he goes, I know we're doing that on purpose. We're going in and out, and he was like, hey, just for the record, like because no, don't worry about that. They said that we're trying to go back into Kip's voice or like a no accent because it's more polite, and when I'm in a New York accent, it sounds like it gives the impression that like I'm still being rude. And it's like, no, it doesn't really matter. But it's like, because I'm a third person, it doesn't matter. But Kip was like, just for the record, I did not threaten Tom's daughters, and the text was not even a threat in any sort of way whatsoever, and could not have even been interpreted that way. And Carrie, what did you do? Hey, Carrie, what did you do? Carrie, you said, Kip, you're an ass, or you're such an ass, or something like that. No, you're an ass. you are an ass for saying that. Kip wasn't being an ass at all. That's because of us. That's because we were there and we were in your head and we were like, and we're still there. And we were like, hey, Carrie. Well, we weren't like, hey, Carrie, but we were like, Kip, you're such an ass when you read that. That's why you get so angry when he corrects you on things in a polite way. I mean, he's yelled at you, but like when he yells at you, he's not correcting anything. He's just venting at you after an incident's happened in which he's been wronged and which you don't have his back. Like when Alan took a hammer to his door. And had that door handle taken off and called the police after the police were already called an hour earlier and left because there was nothing to do. It's like Kip's basic human rights were violated and you've done nothing about it. But again, Kip has not said one of these words by his own volition. Well, I guess not by his own volition. He's letting us say these through him. And so, Carrie, you think Kip has this accent? Like, have you ever heard Kip talk like this? Have you ever heard Kip talk like this? Kip's not doing an impersonation right now. He's literally letting us use VoiceToSkull technology on him, which again, Carrie, you were like, it exists and here's a defense to it, which is not a defense to it. And Kip's like, I don't know where you heard that from, but like it doesn't work, and I'm not gonna put a foil cap on my head. And then he eventually did one time, and he was like, no, that doesn't work. And we're like, it has to be thicker, and he's like, I'm not putting another foil cap on my head. And like for the longest time, he fought that for like 2 years. He was like, or a year and a half, he was like, I'm not making a tinfoil cap. I'm not making a full cap because that's what crazy people do. I'm not fucking doing that. And then he did that one time at Allen's, and probably I don't think they know about it. I think he might have told Tim about it briefly, but he was like, I tried that, it didn't work. but it's like, and that was thanks to you, Carrie. He was like, oh, great, now I'm making a tinfoil hat, and it didn't work. It didn't stop the pain, and it didn't stop the voices. And again, but like, so you think he's doing these accents to you, so and you think like he's voluntarily sending these things to you or posting them, knowing that he's going to look like a crazy person, but explaining it to you scientifically, and like, so you think he has dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, which is already a hugely debated, like most people don't believe it's real, and it's only from people that have fucked up brains and went through some fucked up trauma early in the age. People just don't get that. You don't get it you don't just get that. And it's like, and Kip didn't suffer trauma before this bullshit, so you can't say it's because of this bullshit that he got it. It's like this started, this happened like shortly after everything else, or maybe a few months after it. And again, it wasn't that traumatic for him to have multiple personality disorder. And meth or any drug cannot cause multiple personality disorder. And again, he's not on anything or whatever, and he was never using meth in the quantity or the frequency or for the time frame that you thought he was. So so again, like, and you were like, Kip, you're such an ass. And like, you're still doing it. You're still treating it. You're leaving him in a state of hopelessness. And we really love that, Carrie. We really do. It's like, we really do, because like we play with that and we're such horrible people, but you're a horrible person too, because it's like, he's disabled multiple, even if you don't believe him, he's disabled multiple ways. You don't treat a disabled person that way. You get involved with their life and you help them, and you don't become a petty, horrible, disgusting person like you become. But that's because of us. But like, it's not gonna make it any better in Kip's eyes, because he's gonna be like, I used to, and like, we play your voice to him every single minute of the day now. So he is so sick of hearing your voice, even though he doesn't talk to you, and is probably never going to talk to you ever again. But you think he has multiple personality disorder? Have you ever seen Kip do these expressions? Like, have you ever seen that? Like, we're literally, and he can feel it right now, because we're doing it in an exaggerated way. It actually hurts right here. We're literally making him do that. We can literally zap you right here and zap you right here and zap you right here, and we can literally make you do that. We can literally do that. We can do it in a way that like doesn't hurt, but so like, you literally think he's like, you talking to me, like you really think we're doing like a bad Robert De Niro impersonation, like, and you literally think like you've never seen Kip do this in his entire life. He's not on anything. He hasn't had anything, and you're like, well, it can have lasting impacts. It's like, no, it can't. No, it can't. And not in the levels that Kip was ever using it. And it's like, all it did was make Kip horny and want to jerk off or like fuck or watch porn or fuck around with someone. And that's like how it should be used, and that's how most people use it, or they use it to get OCD. It's like Ativan. So people use Ativan. That's basically meth. It's like light meth, or you can do more of it, and it's like you're on meth. It's like very similar. It's a stimulant. And again, stimulants do not fuck with your memory, Carrie. I mean, they can make you sleep deprived, which Kip slept every single day, except the times that he wasn't on anything, and when we fucked with him and kept him up and did high pitched tones and frequencies and blah 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 blah, and we kept and zapped him, and we kept him up. One day we kept him up for 3 days. He thought it was 4 days, but I think it was more like 3. And that was the day that he told you to stay at a different hotel. Like, and that was over 2.5 years ago. That was right at the beginning at the Grove, and he was at the Grove, and he went to Isaac's, and he's documented that. And he documented it very well.